Media Day 2024. Glad you can join us, ladies and gentlemen. And it is always fun to be here. And just reminiscing on just where we were with the media space and the coverage of this thing when it was 10 tables and 8 of them were empty and everybody was in the main ballroom, and now you got 4 rooms and probably looking to expand to more because there's more coverage of this stuff.
252, Charles, are here today.
252
That's a
media.
record.
252. Yes, and it seems like every year it's going up and up. And
It is.
I know that's a positive thing, and looking for even more of that.
Absolutely. Again, a testament to our fan base, the passion, and if there wasn't any interest, the media wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So the addition of the HBCU Go scheduling is coast to coast now, right? Prime time.
Yeah.
So good time to be a part of the Southwestern Athletic Conference.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here as always, and I appreciate you coming on. First thing I want to clean up a little business from the softball tournament. I owe you a drink, Mr. Commissioner. I don't know if you were told.
Yeah.
There was a cooler.
I saw not what I was told. I was the one that told them.
Oh, really? Okay.
I
I didn't know that. I drank one of the commissioner's
zero
sugar.
You don't even know what it was. You just thirsty.
I was just thirsty. I have to admit I'm guilty of that. And somebody from your office said, well, you know that drink is for the commissioner. That's all he drinks. I'm like, oops.
And there wasn't but 2 in there. Right? And Charles took one of them.
I said, uh-oh. There goes my job. There goes my side gig down the drain. But I apologize for that. And I did see it was 2 of them. I said, I wonder, maybe just someone just put it in there. But it wasn't something for me to partake in. But I did. So I will replace that.
No, they were for you guys. Absolutely.
But you, when we talked about this at the softball tournament, you're very conscious of diet and exercise, and you do that, and you look slim and trim, and I know that's kind of where we are. We're going to try to stay as slim and trim and as healthy as possible.
Well, I have a 6-year-old, so I want to be around.
Yeah,
so I have to run. I don't want to be at a graduation in a walker. So I try to stay healthy, Charles.
Trying to stay as healthy as you can, and that's kind of where we are. And where we are here, SWAC Football Media Day, Mr. Commissioner. I mean, you talked about it, over 250 credentials, and I think we can solve this question once and for all during the Coach Prime era when you had a whole bunch of folks. You said that this thing wasn't going to die down one bit, and it hasn't.
Yeah, and, again, have to give hats off to Coach Prime. He opened up some doors for us that we were not able to open, or he opened them up quicker than we could have opened them on our own. But we've been a solid league for quite a while.
Yeah.
Our fan base has been strong for quite a while. I was speaking about this earlier, how significant television is. So when you talk about the billions of dollars that's being thrown around in college football playoff and the billions of dollars thrown around in the television contracts, in those leagues, it's all a product of television, right? In order for us to be successful, we have to have a strong television network. HBCU Go, ESPN, and now with the addition of the remaining games being on our SWAC digital network, enhances our ability to get our product out. And it doesn't just recruit football players, it recruits students. One of our networks, and I said this earlier too, I'm not going to name the network, but when we looked at the numbers, it was over 25 million hours viewed on those games that were being played. Now we have 2 other opportunities with equal amount of games, right? So you're talking 50 million, 60 million hours of people watching SWAC content. That's significant.
Yeah.
And this is just football. This is not the other sports. This is just football. That's what's going to help our league continue to grow. Our fan base, now it's coast to coast. It's not just in the southern region. Coach Prime opened some of those doors for us to be able to be seen in Maine and to be seen live on television in California and Chicago. Yeah. It's significant.
And you talked about the SWAC Digital Network piece. I can report that there's going to be a couple of our home games that's going to be a part of that. The Edward Waters game and the Texas Southern game at home. That will be a part of the SWAC Digital Network's coverage of that. So just again to add that to that footprint.
Yeah, when I came commissioned the first year, Charles, you remember you jumped on me and said, hey, why are you not using SWAC Digital Network? I said, hey, we have a plan, Charles.
Yeah.
We have to get there. We don't want to just haphazardly put things on because that's going to not be representative of our brand.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to invest, and we did.
Yeah.
And now you see the fruits of that labor. It took a little longer.
Yeah.
But it's done right. It's done correctly. And it has exploded from a branding standpoint, from a corporate media standpoint, from a television standpoint, and for those that want to be a part of the Southwestern Athletic Conference standpoint.
Yes, sure is. That's exactly right. We're talking with SWAC Commissioner Dr. Charles McClelland. Doc, as we get ready for football season, man, different dynamic. And I've been saying it for 3 hours now. You've got 10 teams with coaches that have been at their schools 3 years or less.
Yes.
And so you got the vets, obviously Coach McDowell of Prairie View, Carnell Maynard, we just saw him, but Eddie Robinson Jr., just year 3. Other than that, you've got Hampton at UAPB year 2, TC Taylor year 2, Wade of Valley year 2. You got a lot of first year, second year, third year coaches. There's a lot of moving pieces with so many coaches that have been at their institutions a short period of time.
Yeah. Is your question why or just?
Oh no,
overall?
just the overall, just how the pieces are moving in. The days of the Eddie Robinson in his 50th year, and the Marino Castlems in the 30th year, and the Pete Richardsons. I mean, you have a lot of moving pieces. You have a lot of young coaches.
Well, I think again, what you're starting to see is the significant amount of dollars that are associated with winning in our conference. And schools are investing to win, and they're going to put those additional pressures on our coaches to win. We haven't always been there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been the sport of intercollegiate athletics, right? And as we continue to grow, as we continue to put those resources and distribute, and schools continue to invest, the pressures on these coaches are going to become even greater. It's already significant. They're going to become even greater because there's a lot of money at the end, especially if you sell out your stadiums, you host the championship game, and you go to the Celebration Bowl. It's a pretty significant windfall. We started it in basketball as well. It's a pretty significant windfall. We are actually we share with the membership. So if you win the regular season, you get a distribution. You win the tournament, you get a distribution. We broke off some of the men's basketball revenue and gave it to the women. This year, we're going to make both of them equal, right? So there's significant benefit. And if you did what Grambling did, you go in the tournament and you win a game, you're going to get 1/2 of that unit for the next 6 years, which is a $2 million windfall just for one game in the tournament. There's a lot of money at stake now. And presidents, athletic directors are going to put pressure on these coaches to win.
So you being a former AD at 2 SWAC schools at Prairie View and Texas Southern, you've had coaches get let go after 2 years, and maybe I'm old school and I'm not with the new times in terms of athletics, and every school does it differently, but 2 years isn't a lot of time.
It's not.
My buddy Carlos Brown, it's the Carlos Brown contract, 2 years. And we were joking about it earlier, but is it realistic, though, for 2 years to really get a good picture in terms of where you are? Or, like you said, with the dollars that's out there now, you got to hit the ground sprinting, and if you don't show some promise in year 1.5 or year 2, it might be time to go another way.
Well, I think there's a couple of things. One is everybody that left did not get fired. Some left for greener pastures.
Correct.
Which, again, Coach Prime kind of created that path, not just in football, but in basketball and other sports as well. He showed that SWAC is a competitive league, and if I can coach in the SWAC, I can coach anywhere else. So that's a positive.
Mm-hmm.
Drawing on my athletic director days, I knew after year 1 whether or not I had a good coach, regardless of what the record was. So managing the finances of that decision was probably the biggest challenge. But I knew after year 1 that this coach has the potential. This coach is a great coach, or this coach is not going to be able to fulfill the goals and objectives that we've set out for him. So no, I do not believe that 2 years is enough, because it takes at least 4 years in football. By year 3, you should be competing at that level that you set. Winning record, 2-3 games over winning, and next year we're going to have a shot at the championship. But at the same time, I knew after year 1 what coach was going to be able to have that shot in year 3 and year 4, and which coach was not.
Yeah.
My decision on to retain or not retain was mostly financial.
Yeah.
And ultimately what is happening now is that there are distributions and resources based upon how we run the conference that they have money to be able to now make some different decisions.
Yeah. And speaking of different decisions, the Celebration Bowl being just a week in between.
Man, that was a great lead in. You said, speaking of different decisions, that was pretty great. Charles Edmond is known for these hard-hitting questions. He butters you up front, and then he dives right in.
I thought that was a softball.
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
thought that was a softball. But I was talking with John Grant earlier. He was our first interview. And the conversation obviously is 1 week between the championship game and Celebration Bowl. And I understood the dynamics. I know the networks control a lot of different things. The college football playoff is expanding. It might expand again to 16. It seems like it's heading that way. And so, therefore, it's moving pieces with the game. What do you say to fans that may be like, why only 1 week and the change? John Grant kind of explained it. Are you kind of on the same page in terms of the networks kind of control that we have to kind of adjust with the expanded playoff? The NFL now is expanding, playing some games on Saturday, all that other stuff that goes with it.
Yeah, the network does control it. So they have the ability. Our contract is with ESPN Disney.
Mm-hmm.
They have the ability to put the game on whichever day that satisfies them. That was definitely not our first choice, but it was the only choice that we had. There's some things that have to happen. We have to be on ABC. Right, so there are certain things that won't be compromised, and that was the only choice. The benefit of the Celebration Bowl, in my opinion, is that and I know the numbers were a little lower this year, but we constantly have 2 million people watching that game. That game is top 5 of all bowl games prior to the New Year's Eve day game. That's a significant audience. I'd be interested to see if in the BCS era, the number 12 team playing the number 16 will outdraw. And I think that's the way that we get in and we start to make our moves to say we're strong. So we have to put our best foot forward. And we will explore our options.
Yeah.
There'll be some options that we have, and we will definitely explore those.
I know people were talking. I know it's been reported about the media rights deal. I'm satisfied with ESPN and the HBCU Go. But to me, ESPN's the best way to go, but other people have other opinions, and people have kind of chimed in on that on social media and other platforms. Is the membership, the presidents, you comfortable with that whole media thing and where we are right now and the exposure that we're getting through all of that?
Well, we have the greatest exposure that we've ever had within the Southwestern Athletic Conference. We constantly evaluate our partnerships, and we will continue to do so. And I'm not discounting what you said you saw on social media, but the constant feedback that we get from our constituency, our fan base, is that they want to see the games.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're delivering. Every football game you will be able to see on 3 different platforms. The money, the schools are most happy with.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as we can maintain that balance of showing all of the games, and the schools are happy with the financial windfall from it, I think you'll continue to see us move in a similar direction that we're moving.
I know we talked at the softball tournament about this legislation with paying student athletes. Where do you see that? Are we going to get some sort of resolution? I know the Power 2.5. And I was reading something. Georgia's paying their football players $1 million a month. I mean, $1 million a month. I mean, that's big time money.
Well, I don't. Again, you probably got that off social media, but that's not a true statement. There's going to be caps.
Yeah.
All of that has not been worked out yet.
Okay.
So from my understanding, the FBS has to come up with a number, and it's going to be based upon the revenue, and they're going to have to agree on that. They have not agreed upon it because the lawsuit has not been settled, right? But they're not spending $85 million on football players because part of it is what you do for one group, you're going to have to do for another group. So I wouldn't necessarily take anything that you've seen or read as gospel at this point because they have not even signed the documents on the legislation or the settlement, which is the House settlement, that's going to make these types of determinations.
How will that impact the conference and the trickle-down effect to the schools? Is it because that's kind of my thinking and concern? Maybe I shouldn't be concerned. I mean, like you said, it hasn't quite made its way around, but if it does, will it have a significant financial impact to the conference or the university?
There's always a trickle-down effect. What happens at that level will trickle down to our level. And we'll be ready. We'll be a part of the solution. Mm-hmm. We'll be part of the conversation. One of the things people ask me, what are you most proud of? And, there's a lot of things that I'm proud of. But one of the things that I can say that I am extremely proud of is that we have 23 SWAC membership people on NCAA committees, the most that we've by far ever had. So we're in the room. We're a part of the conversation. We're our President Ross, our chairman, is now on the Division I Board of Directors. So he is at the highest level. There will be nothing voted upon that he doesn't have some say-so in. So we've strategically put ourselves in position to have significant say-so in the direction and all of this.
Okay.
Now, the lawsuit settlement, that's not coming through us, but it is a Power 4 settlement. And there will be some trickle-down effect, but that trickle-down effect will have to go through the leadership and the membership, and we have people strategically placed to ensure that we have say-so in what goes on.
So I can sleep a little bit better at night.
You can sleep a little bit better at night. We're not going anywhere.
Well, that's a good thing. What finally? Because I know we got other coaches. They were trying to get what's the one thing that you're looking forward to this upcoming athletic season?
Competitiveness. That's what we have built this whole league on. Looking for some great games. I'm looking for. I just 5 seconds ago, before I sat down with you, saw the predicted order of finish. I deliberately don't look at them.
Okay.
Right. I like to get them when everybody else. There's some interesting picks on there.
Yeah.
I never would have thought that they would have picked Alcorn first in the West.
Yeah, that was interesting. We'll take it, and I know for St. Thomas.
But I'm not looking at it that closely anymore. Right?
Yeah.
So I kind of do it from a fan standpoint. But for these coaches and these voters to think that what Alcorn has going on elevates them to the top tells me that this is going to be a really, really, really good season.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Right. And this, for me, it says that the competitiveness is going to be at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Right. And it also tells me from Alcorn all the way down to the 16 in the East is going to be competitive.
Yeah.
So the Western Division, you play everybody. You cross over and play 3 in the Eastern Division. But you're not going to have to say West and East. You're going to have to say week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. There are not going to be any days off, any games off. And, how does Jackson State feel? How does Florida A&M, feel about that? And again, I know that they're in different divisions, but even in the same division, Prairie View bringing back pretty much their entire team minus their quarterback coming off a championship game appearance.
Yeah.
And Alcorn leapfrogs. So that's what I'm looking forward to. The week in, week out, trash talk, competitive games, showing it on the field. And, oh, by the way, whichever game you want to watch, you can cut your TV on and watch it.
Yeah, I thought maybe the voters would go with the teams that won it last year. I was thinking that the whole spring, like, we'll probably go with Prairie View and Florida A&M. Nope.
Right.
I mean, obviously there's a little more thought into it, and so I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. So am I.
Mr. Commissioner,
All right.
we appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Charles.
The commissioner has to make his rounds. There's so much more we can talk about with the commissioner. I mean, we could talk another 2 hours. There's stuff to talk about, the basketball, the new scheduling change and all that. But we'll get to that at another time. We'll take a break here.